step foot on the ranch, right away you feel the relaxation of being out in nature. Just being here, because it's so nice and calm. That's right when you see the first change.
The first time I got here, it was like I was back with my brothers. It was so peaceful.
War Horses for Veterans is a equine-based networking experience for veterans where they can come and kind of decompress, get away from everyday life, kind of reconnect with other veterans that have been through similar situations. It's an opportunity to be mentored, get up for job and career opportunities and personal opportunities as well.
We hadn't seen each other from October 13th, 1969 until April 2016. And it was just like we had never been apart. Everybody here is combat veteran. Been through it. Doesn't matter what war you're in.
No.
You know, and they're all similar. Maybe the location's a little different, and the enemy might dress a little different, but it's all the same when you're in the Delta Sierra. The horses are great. They allow you to focus on just you and that horse. It's not a scripted schedule. It's kind of how the dynamics of the group work.
And then you're going to come down to the stables and you'll start working with the horses. And it's nothing mandatory. Like our first session, we got out here and we just started grooming a horse. Patrick showed us how to groom a horse. And it was just fun. And as we're grooming a horse, we're telling our story.
You get to see somebody who's never been around a horse who's scared of horses. And 5 minutes later, they're riding a horse.
Through the horses and through this experience with other veterans, you get something back. I walked taller, smiled more, fought more.
You're going to feel like you're part of the family again. You're not alone.
You need to recognize that it's nothing wrong, nothing weak about asking for help.
We're a family. We understand that. And that's what you need.
It doesn't hurt to have people in a network assisting you to get where you want to go. I want to be a part of helping people coming out of combat regain a normal life of what they were before they experienced that.
Whatever problems you have from dealing with combat or your military service, the program is going to help you through that. It's going to open a lot of doors. It's going to open your eyes to a lot of things that you didn't know that were out there.
What is it that you want to do? What do you want to do with the rest of your life? You've got a passion. Well, let's go for it.
To apply, go to warhorsesforveterans.com.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former intern's tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. You know, come to think of it, my whole life has been a series of what-the-f moments. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah, you said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Oh, man. Broadcasting live on this 15th of February, 2021, from the Functional Veteran Center of Excellence, U.S. Army WTF Moments, WTF Nation Radio's Monday edition, with myself and Flakish. Oh, man, hey, real quick, I just wanna give a shout out to all, man. There's some like mad weather in Texas. Holy crap, dude! I'm gonna throw up a screen right quick. I'm just gonna get to business already, man. If you are living in Texas right now, hey, we're thinking of you, and we'll just go ahead and just pop the screen up. Those are the outages in the region for all customers that are currently without power, diminished power, limited power, and all that.
Pretty much the state.
Yeah, pretty much the state. So all the way, I guess, up until, up a little bit towards Oklahoma, and then towards El Paso, you're kind of or going towards Louisiana, you're in the blue. But you're affecting those areas right there, man. Bundle up, get some blankets. I mean, this is the time where everyone's kind of like messing with Texas, going like, "Oh, you guys don't know how to handle the weather," and I'm like, well, they don't get it like this. I mean, even though they had preparation and notice to do it, but God,
I hate that. I hate when we get we get regionally snooty, up north you can't, it's 70 degrees and you're bitching. Here in Georgia or here in Texas, and then reverse, we get a half an inch of snow down in in Georgia or Arkansas or in Texas, and the people in the north half an inch. We got a half an inch while I was talking to you right now.
Yeah,
we get so regionally snooty. It's kind of
it's almost
now everyone's just universally fucking cold.
Yeah, now I was about to say it's one of those. It's almost like a one-upmanship. Everyone's kind of like, oh wow, so customers tracked, 12 million customers tracked, and there's 3 million state outages. And that was about an hour ago. So just looking right here of all the individuals that are affected.
And that's not all. Louisiana's gotten a lot of snow.
Yeah.
A lot of places shut down. Virginia's got still a lot of rural areas are going on 3 days without power. Same thing in Tennessee. I mean, we weren't ready. They weren't ready for this kind of cold. This was something we won't see for a hot second. I mean, it was just a dagger of freezing temperatures that
right.
I think they even made Mexico cold.
I was about to say, if it's the south of Texas right there, and there's even snow in San Antonio, there more than likely is freaking, it's pretty freaking, it's cold.
Flores is freezing.
Yeah. And no doubt.
I mean, everyone's cold. So, I mean, stay warm out there. Do what you got to do. Bundle up. But damn, it is. I'm sorry. Where I'm at, it's still, freezing temperatures and cold. And I'm good. I'm ready for spring. I've never once went, man, I wish winter would last longer.
Right. No, I'm just looking at the map and I'm like, holy crap. So if you're, if you can share a generator, or you can, there's I'm pretty sure I'm watching everybody on the feeds right now just talking about how some of the weather and what they're doing and some of the preparation and what not to do, some cold weather tips, and just pay attention to some of the stuff. I know Spanky and Kaz, and I know some of our other hosts that are out there in the central U.S. and central Texas. They're affected by this too. Got some friends and fam out there as well, and they're giving me updates wow, it's freaking cold. We expected some snow, but not this snow. There was wasn't there over 100 vehicle pileup on one of the highways?
Oh, that was really bad. A couple of tractor trailers. I think there was somewhere around 14 deaths. I mean, it was really bad. I haven't seen anything that bad. Yeah. There was there was some crazy on the scene video of this tractor trailer just
I saw that.
Can't do anything about it. Just
I saw that
into stuff, and unfortunately, last time I remember there was a big pile. I mean, they're in I think it was 2000. There was a 100 and something car pileup on 95 during a winter, the onset of a winter ice storm or something. I remember there was another one. Where was it? Atlanta had a big one back when they had a freeze. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. They had a bunch of people, they had tractor trailers literally sliding because of the ice on the road, sliding off the roads into these ditches and stuff like that. It was,
it was 133 vehicles and 6 were dead. Not 103 dead and 6. That was. I was like, wow, that's a mass casualty event when you said 133 dead. It was 133 vehicles that were piled up.
Oh, did I say dead?
Yeah.
It's 100. 100. I
was like, man, dude.
Vehicles pile up. I don't remember how many people died. I remember my mother was you know, we were waiting on her, and luckily she like was in the back end, and they were able to like get. She was like one of the first to be able to like get the hell out of there.
Right.
So I mean, it's pretty scary times being a kid, but yeah, I mean, this happens. We're not expecting this. You know, they were. I know in my area they were all ready. They're all ready for that first snow. Like you're like we're like they're out there like, you know, taking their parades on social media. Going, we have cleaned the roads. They are salted. They are pretty. They are brined. Which is the first time I ever heard of brining a road.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, it makes sense when they actually like break it out. First time I heard brining, I was like, we're not making a brisket. What's going on here? And they're like, we
have no pickles
we
here.
have salt trucks. We have everyone ready. And then this time they went, fuck you guys.
We don't have any pickles.
Like, fend for yourselves, fuckers. We're done.
Yeah, we don't have any pickles here. We're not. Yeah, I know. That must be like a new thing. But yeah, everyone's talking in the comments. It's cold, man. It's you know, you guys out in Texas, you guys affected by this.
I tell you what.
Well, it's also affected up to Oklahoma, Kansas. I know there's even some hail in Georgia.
Oklahoma, where the wind's gonna fucking freeze your balls.
I'm just telling you, man, it's crazy. So y'all, I'm telling you, y'all hang in there, because it is, God, it's pretty bad. But let's go back to that. Let's go back to that pile up. There was talk about like everybody knew it was gonna be like that. Do you think some of these individuals here shouldn't have, I don't know, not gone on the road, or do you think they had a choice? Because 130 vehicles, and everyone knew that was, I mean, the conditions were already bad. I wonder why the Texas Highway Department didn't close the highways and just say, hey, screw it. Do they think they had enough word? I mean, did you hear anything about that?
You know, it's one of those things that, man, look at that. There's on the Dallas, was it DallasNews.com. There's a great, and I say great as in just looking at it. There's just this picture of just all these pictures, just all these cars piled up, and it's pretty ugly. I mean, there's only so much you can do. You know, people are going to do what they're, it's hard to get people to listen. Hell, we can't get people to wear masks, in like fucking close proximity, let alone, hey, don't go out in the fucking snow. Now, if you look at these pictures, ton of tractor trailers. Unfortunately, I think there's a Coca-Cola guy right there too.
There was a FedEx, Coca-Cola, Swift.
A lot of these guys are truckers. Like they have to, they're not making money unless they're driving. And and you can still see in this picture, there's like a FedEx. I mean, there's tons of like tractor trailer drivers. Now, everyone else here, I'd like to, I hope there was some, life or death situation while you're on the road. But it's tough. They can't. It's hard for people just to shut down the roads. Maybe, but Dallas, I don't know if how prepared they are for icy road conditions. Whether they were able to go out and brine and salt these highways before, but this freeze came on pretty quickly, and no one was ready for it. In this picture, you can still see plenty of ice all around in these different spots. I mean, but with all these tractor trailers, I mean, these guys got to make money, so it's kind of hard. My uncle is drives truck, and this man drove through a hurricane just because he's like, I got to make this money. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. It just looked like there could have the state of Texas could have just said, "Hey, look, stop! Y'all need to, stop."
A large part of the people involved were healthcare workers. Typically shift changes at the hospitals near downtown is going to be around 7:00. So there was a lot of healthcare workers who were out there just trying to go to their job, and with this pandemic happening, it's kind of hard to keep these guys from going to work too. So. I mean, it sucks. A total of 65 people, were treated at the, local area hospital for injuries. But that number is expected to rise. They're still figuring out who was, exactly involved. But man, some of these wrecks, damn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was pretty ugly.
They give me shit. Like they're giving me shivers just looking.
Right, dude. I just kind of it's really sad. Yeah, it was just one of those things. So I just want a real quick shout out to the residents of Texas and everybody else that are infected. That's kind of like
we're thinking about you guys.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Also breaking right now, there was a rocket attack in Kurdistan.
What?
Yeah, dude, it was 14 rocket. Oh, I'm sorry. 14 rockets were fired at a U.S. base in Kurdistan. 3 landed inside a U.S. compound, 10 outside, and then one American service member was injured. 5 contractors were injured, and 1 contractor was killed. So it's in Kurdistan right now. It's pretty Erbil is where it got hit.
Yeah, they're saying that there's already heightened tension between the Americans and Iranian-backed militias, so they're pretty much kind of putting the pin on those guys.
But do you think we could do something? I mean, is there going to be something we're going to
bomb them? I mean, that's just the first. You open the playbook, the first thing is bomb them. So.
Right, exactly. No, I'm just curious.
Well, that won't work. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're just going to go ahead and. I mean, it just sucks that again. We got you in our thoughts, Kurdistan, and the forces up in Erbil, because it's I guess it's a developing situation right now.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, had this been, under a different president, we'd already be going to war with Iran. That's right.
How do you think so? I mean, we've already,
we know this. These militias are backed by Iran.
Right.
They're playing the whole proxy war thing.
Oh, of course. Well, they've been doing it since we've been there.
Yeah.
But, anyways, so that right there is breaking. There was something that somebody asked me. Why did we tag the 2nd Stryker Brigade Combat Team again? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So apparently, I guess we tagged the 2nd Brigade Combat Strike, the Lancer Brigade again. I'm just looking at the tags. I'm like, I don't know why we tagged them.
Because they're awesome.
Because they're awesome, I guess. I don't know. Shit. Welcome aboard. I guess. I mean, I'm looking at the.
We're gonna tag you fools all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I can't answer that. There you go. Don't know why they're tagged. Don't know why they're in there. Then that's it. That's all we can say. At any rate, okay. Today, well, actually yesterday, the president. God, dude. We said this before, Flash. We've even said this when Trump was elected. We give the president his time to do his thing, and he's injected and stuff like that, and we're gonna give him a chance to see how it's. We've all said that, right? Why on the anniversary of Parkland, which I know why, but as a rhetorical question, why would he announce the discussion of banning assault weapons? And what was the statement that he said specifically?
So he said today, quote, "Today we mourn with the Parkland community. We mourn for all those who've lost loved ones to gun violence. Now, remember, February 14, 2018, a gunman opened fire at the Stonewall Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, killing 17. Since then, many of the students and community members have become passionate crusaders. Now, Joe Biden did, he said, I'm going to push through legislation on my first 100 days to deal with guns, including banning assault weapons. They're talking about, more laws requiring background checks on all gun sales, banning assault weapons, high capacity rounds, and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers, that's always baffled me. Like with this pileup, are we going to sue GM and Ford?
I'm glad you brought that. Let's dissect that statement then. So what was the first comment that he said?
Well, this is kind of just
his little laundry list
is passing laws requiring background checks on all gun sales, not just when you go to the store, but even doing hey, remember that app we talked about? I'm just saying. Even a personal purchase to one person to another.
And you know what? Even D. Treasy was talking about that app. He must have been a listener. WTF Nation Radio, US Army, WTF Moments, when D. Treasy was in office. We talked about an app.
The Orange Man listens.
The Orange Man listens. We talked about it on air, about having an app, about having a real quick do-it-yourself background app that you do it between yourself and it's not out of the government. And yeah. And the next thing you know, D. Treasy was talking about it, and everyone didn't want to blow it up. Now they're talking about an additional. So when you're purchasing a weapon already, you're already having to fill some documents. You know what I mean? You're already filling something out, and there is a specific age that you have to buy, that you can buy specific weapons. So if it's a pistol, it's 21 in some states. If it's I think it's all states, it's not 21. If it's a rifle, it's 18. All right.
Whoop.
Well, I don't understand what the whole background, the whole thing, because it's to what are they backgrounding? That's what I want to know. What's the back?
Well, you know, when you go to like gun shows and stuff like that, you can just do. They kind of look at you, look at your license, and you know that's about it. There are, you know, unless you do a traditional, I go to a gun store, I buy gun. You're not usually doing some kind of background check in other places. You know, that's a weird one. It's one of those where I'm like, shall not infringe, but you know, checking someone to make sure they legally can have one doesn't hurt my feelings
but what do we
to a big extent.
So criminal assault,
it's one of those like, okay, so you're saying, but like none of these big shootings have, you know, the problem is nothing here really combats how these shootings went down. The kid broke into, you know, his mom's gun safe.
Pretty much all of them.
This one, I think.
Yeah, pretty much all of them.
Like
Yeah, this one had already had behavioral health issues. The one in
so he already broke the law. So
yeah, and the one in the preschool one had behavioral health issues.
That was the one where he broke into his mom's cabinet.
Correct. And so a lot of those stuff
I won't lie, that still gives me nightmares.
That one does too, because I'm just thinking these were individuals that I think were coddled. See, this is what goes into the generational thing. I was getting arguments with my anti-gun friends, which is very few. I have very few anti-gun friends. But it goes back, exactly that, Gary. It goes back to home training. It goes back to the upbringing. It is, when do we coddle these kids up and give them what they want, and it's a generational thing. It's okay as a parent to say no. None of my children's have access to any of my weapons. However, they know how to operate a weapon. They know how to handle a weapon. They know how to they know how to go shooting. With the exception of the younger ones. The younger ones, no big deal. I will get to them later as they grow up. However, but the older ones, no issues with weapons. They understand, they respect, and all that. I, as a parent, would understand that if they weren't going to be able to, I don't know, if they're taking some sort of psychotropic medication, Zoloft and whatever, that's mind altering. That's where I kind of have an issue where people are like, you need to keep the guns away from the kid at that point. You know what I mean? You should not, if you are affected, and I'm not saying heavily, I'm not talking about the ones that are like really, that have to take a light medication or something like that. I'm talking someone with some real behavioral issues. Most of these kids that did the shootings did. They did have and it's the coddling parent. There was warning and there was red flags from each event that could have been prevented, but because it was who they were and where they were in their societal enclave, I guess you would say, Cruz, and then the kid that was that did the man, what was the other one? The one up the one with the preschool. I forgot the name of that one already. There was already some mental health issues that to me, if you as an upstanding citizen, if you pay your taxes, if you have child support paid, you don't have any court stuff, you don't have any crimes and stuff like that would normally not allow you to carry a weapon, convicted felon or whatever, then that's it. Now, I had a discussion with some pro Second Amendment friends, and they asked me, what do you feel about a convicted felon having their Second Amendment rights back or voting rights back? To what level is the screening are they going to use for a common sense background check? So, let's talk about our app, Flash. It was, quote unquote, this is trademark Ice and Flash, WTF Moment, U.S. Army WTF Moments, and WTF Nation Radio, a Monday edition trademark, patented conversation of the app that me and Flash were talking about. Was it Flash has a phone app? I have a phone app. We're gonna do a purchase on our own. Flash has this badass get that I want to get. I'm like, all right, man, I'm buy this get. All right, cool. PayPal. Okay, before this transaction begins, let me fill out your information. Pew, 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 pew. There you go. Let me fill out your information. Pew, pew, pew. That means, and it comes back to me saying that I am authorized to purchase, that comes back to Flash saying that I am authorized to purchase that weapon from you. And it also says to me that you are cleared to buy this weapon. And then if there's a hit, then that's when the app warns authorities that there's an illegal activity going on. There you go. Right there.
Too easy.
Too easy.
Easy peasy, lemon
Yeah,
squeezy.
it's like 3Cletus, exactly, 3cletusguns.com. Exactly that. Real easy. I don't understand why people would have an issue with something like that when you're going to get checked. You get checked anyways when you get your vehicle inspected. You get checked anyways when you get pulled over by the cops. You get checked anyways when you're running a credit check. What's the difference? Why can you not? Why can you not have an agreement? If you know you're not supposed to be buying a gun and you don't want to get checked, then why don't you want to fill it out? You know what I mean?
So what else is on this list? So now we have banning assault weapons. Now,
Wrong.
Remember the assault weapons ban. Oh, I'm about to sneeze. Hold on.
Go ahead. Achoo.
Thank God for that mute button. Nobody wants to hear me. Now I know that they had an assault weapons ban that was in the 90s, and
The Brady
it
Bill.
ended.
The Brady Bill, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. So they wanted. So here, the presidential campaign trail. They had. Biden came out and pretty much says that they want to have a nationwide assault weapons ban to make it even stronger. But some of, what do you mean stronger? 25 years ago, when Biden was chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Congress passed the Public Safety and Recreational Firearms Use Protection Act, commonly called the Assault Weapons Ban. It prohibited the manufacture and sale for civilians use of certain semi-automatic weapons. The act also banned magazines that could accommodate 10 rounds or more. Ain't that some bullshit? Assault weapons, military-style firearms designed to fire rapidly, are a threat to our nation's security and should be treated as such, Biden wrote in an op-ed. Anyone who pretends there's nothing we can do is lying. The earlier ban that was enacted was a subsection of the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994. The election year package meant to show that Democrats were tough on crime. Times were different back then. More Americans said they worried about violent crime and the threat associated with criminal arms with powerful weapons. So among other things, Biden and Democrats got behind a stricter sentencing guidelines, which didn't really go, Biden did get hammered away when it came to, his presidential campaign about that. Stricter sentencing guidelines and expanded the categories of federal crime punishable with the death penalty. At the time, Biden defended the legislation against charges of weakness by saying, we do everything but hang people for jaywalking in this bill. Holy shit. Eagerness to tackle crime rates made at least some Democrats in 1994 also willing to address the role of guns, particularly those perceived to be more dangerous and, which had been turned on innocent civilians. In this Times op-ed, Biden salutes the senator often credited with the architect of the 1994 ban, Senator Feinstein from California, because she won't ever die. Then, in just her second year as a senator, Feinstein took over as chief sponsor of the bill originally offered by the Ohio Democrat Howard Metzenbaum in 1989 after a mass shooting on a schoolyard in Stockton, California. Now, the shooting, we'll skip over that. Feinstein resolved to carry this legislation forward, was bolstered when 8 more people were killed and 6 injured in another California horror, this time at a law firm in San Francisco. Quote, it was the 1993 mass shooting at 101st California Street, she said, that was the tipping point for her. Now, but the world still turns by the time those 10 years had passed. It was signed up in 1994. By the time those 10 years passed, however, the political climate had changed. Republicans by then had held the House throughout this period and the Senate for all of but 18 months. The GOP had just increased its numbers in both chambers in the election in 2002, and with the election, the political season dominated by anxiety after 9/11. So there's a lot to unpack there. Biden has come through much of that 1994 election legislation, like we've talked about. It led to a surge in prison populations, and it has been reviled for its mass incarceration that proved disproportionately affecting people of minorities opposed to white folks. Biden had been, unbraided.
As opposed to white folks, is that what you just said?
Hey, this disproportionately affected minority groups over white communities.
Okay, this is what you said.
That whole,
okay, go ahead.
Damn white folks. But in 1994, most immediate consequence of the crime bill was the backlash against the assault weapons ban by tons of gun advocates. Now, the midterm elections that fell that fall were already difficult for Democrats who defended the new North American Free Trade Agreement, some higher taxes, and scandal of the White House banking system. It was a whole shebang.
Okay, so real quick,
Now,
so the definition of an assault weapon, nobody can identify what an assault weapon is. You know what I mean? Just because it has specific attachments attached to it.
I hate when they say that.
I know. I hate it too.
It was an assault weapon.
And it was like, just like as the founders intended. Did you know muskets were military issue? I mean, all those muskets were pretty much military issue. So, as the founders intended, you want to start going off of that? Can I have my 2-inch, my 2-inch fucking 8-pound fucking cannon with grape shot loaded at the fucking front door? So that way, in the event,
it's no longer a military issue.
It's demilled. I could roll that thing out down the hallway and just blast it, just like the founders
I'm
intended.
Pretty sure there's somebody coming through my front door. I'm gonna load this grape shot in the front and just let it go.
Yeah, exactly.
Morning, bitches.
I'm gonna have exactly. I'm gonna have Baby Ice and Princess Ice with the little drum and the horn, the flute, fire. Why is it called an assault weapon? Well, it is. I mean, the way there's nothing. It is a hunting rifle, a pistol, any pistol, revolver, can fire a projectile. It still kills. So what my point is that why are you saying an assault weapon, and then why are you saying that something that can hold more than 30 rounds when it's meant for this and it's meant for that? Well, are we being technological? Are we talking about as the founders intended? We had this, man. Remember when we had this big remember when we had this big debate? Who do we have this debate with? Somebody called in. I can't remember. And they were talking.
We did have somebody. We did have a gun. After I think it was Parkland shooting, and then we had like the vets against.
We had somebody
for gun laws or whatnot. And
yeah, that was a good debate. But my biggest thing is that when we started talking about as the founders intended, then that goes down the slippery slope. The same thing with press, with print, with video. As the founders intended, we all go back to freaking we all go back to quills and freaking scrolls, you know what I mean, and start speaking,
bring me my parchment,
bring me my scroll. It's time for my ink, my ink bottle, my ink bottles and shit like that, and start getting my quill as the founders intended. Keeping on with the technology.
The bald eagle quill.
Exactly. You can't tell me why you cannot why we can't have it. It's hard for someone to try to convince me why having a 30-round magazine is illegal. Why is it illegal? Why is it illegal?
Well, let's look back at the ban itself. We could look back at those 10 years of the ban and 15 years since its expiration. Now, critics have argued that it violated the Second Amendment while accomplishing very little, and evidence suggests it did not do much to reduce incidents of gun violence overall.
Right.
What it did, its defenders' reply was reduce the number of people killed in mass shootings. Both sides of the debate claim vindication and subsequent research comparing the various studies. But comparing the various studies is difficult because they use different definitions of assault weapon and mass shooting. One thing is clear: assault weapons like those once restricted by the ban were used in the most memorable events, define our current era of random massacres, including Sandy Hook in 2012, Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida in 2018, Texas, Ohio. They are emblem, unfortunately they're like the go-to of the soul of sickness. These are the tools of these tragedies. So today, Democrats candidates, they still legislators, stand by the assault weapon ban despite its political costs and in the past and potential costs in the future. Now, President Trump did call for strong background checks for gun purchases that did not call for new restriction on assault weapon ban. There was just no political appetite for it, so it didn't happen. But many surveys show the opposite. A survey done, back in let's see. This is August 2000. Back in 2019, in August, showed that 7 out of 10 for Politico found that 7 in 10 voters, including 54% of Republicans, supported a ban on assault-style weapons. Even higher percentages supported a ban on high-capacity magazines and a purchase age of at least 21 for any gun. And now the survey done in August 5th through the 7th, including 1,960 interviews, and had a margin of error of about 2 percentage points.
When you think about it, when you think about this, when you were, I'll admit it. My father is deceased, so I can say this. Who didn't go hunting with your dad, or a male role model, or an uncle, and they took you out hunting, and you were 8, 9, maybe 10 years old, and you got to shoot a deer. You got to fire like a 30-06. Was it legal that you were allowed to fire it? Was it legal that was it technically legal for you to?
I remember shooting a shotgun with my dad and my uncles at beer camp out in the woods.
Right. So the selling point, I don't care about that. As a matter of fact, 21 should be as a matter of fact, it should be driver's license too. Why not? Those are weapons. Aren't those that can be used as weapons as well? Wasn't there a 13-year-old just arrested for mowing down and her mother's SUV, killed 2 homeless people just jumping in their car and taking off. Just no shit. Look it up. 13-year-old driver mowed down 2 homeless people, killed them.
Biden's administration did say they will not wait for the next mass shooting to take action. We owe it to all those we've lost and those left behind to grieve, to make change. The time to act is now. Biden frequently has talked about the need to take action to decrease gun violence across the country while he was on the campaign trail, but the White House so far hasn't really spelled out how the president plans to turn that into reality, particularly considering Democrats would need to get at least 10 Republicans to approve any bill in the Senate. Still, some longtime gun control activists are feeling optimistic that Washington may actually move on the issue after years of inaction. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the woman who will never die, said Sunday Congress would work with the administration to enact 2 background check bills approved by the House in the last Congress. Hey, did you see that video of Nancy Pelosi barking at a reporter?
No,
I think it was after Treasy was acquitted.
Right? Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute, but that's what I want to talk about.
That was funny as shit. My wife she played that for me. I was like,
right.
It's funny seeing her get mad. Now, gun control activists, advocates in particular, have been heartened because the White House has started to reach out to them. It's in addition to legislation measures, activists are pushing the administration to take action that would not require support of Congress, considering the slim Democratic majority, very slim. Among the measures they're proposing is appointing a senator aide who will specifically have the job of overseeing gun policy, as well as pushing for existing rules to be more strictly enforced. I'm cool. Look, if we got shit on the books, enforce that shit.
Right. A lot of it isn't. That's what I'm saying.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that at all. Some of the comments earlier that was scrolling through the chats is that we don't even MS-13 isn't going to register weapons. They don't give a shit about that stuff. Gang members and criminals, they don't give a shit about registering their weapons and all that. So instead of trying to come up with new laws, enforce the ones you have. I really don't. Again, I don't see an issue with the 21 buying a gun at 21 years old. I don't see that as unless you're a member of the military. If you serve or you are currently a member in the military and you can come in at 18, you can buy a gun. There you go. Because already technically, when you've graduated basic training or whatever, after you've done your first duty assignment, what have you. But if you're a member of the military, U.S. Armed Forces, or you're a veteran, bam, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
So gun right groups, are raising the alarm, with the National Rifle Association spokeswoman Amy Hunter saying Biden may become the most anti-gun president in American history. Of course, they say that. Even as some activists have been heartened by the way the White House has reached out to gun control advocates, some have been concerned that there has been comparatively little outreach to Black-led gun violence prevention group. Black-led violence prevention groups. That report comes from Mother Jones. These groups focus on everyday gun violence and an issue that says they say requires particular attention now that there's been a sharp rise in shooting deaths in communities of color during the pandemic. Quote, the reality that Biden administration would convey a meeting on gun violence without any of us there, meaning the black-led gun control violence, gun violence prevention groups, knowing the unfortunate rise in gun-related shootings and deaths in black communities in the age of COVID is troubling, said Mike McBride, a black pastor who helped direct the organization group Faith in Action.
You know, where the hell has the NRA been? You know, I was just thinking about that. Where have they been in all this crap? I've not seen any commercials about it. I've not seen any propaganda or adverts on the webs about it. I've not seen any. Where the hell have they been in all this? Where have they been? Why are they not talking about it? I'm just kind of like thinking, it just hit me just now. You know, where are they at? Where's the NRA talking about freedoms? And I thought they were going to be lobbying in Congress, which we're going to talk about that in a minute, about this, because this, again, dude, this is straight. What are they there for? Why are you giving your money to the NRA if they're not going to do shit for you and scaring you? You know, they're getting the old boomers and they're going to be like, we're take your guns, and the boomers going to be like, oh gosh, I guess I got to give more money to the NRA. Yes, they don't take my guns. You know that ends up happening, and you still see these legislation. Have we got anybody from the NRA actually speaking about this? Do you know of? That you've seen? I mean, I haven't seen any.
I'm looking right now. I'm actually on there. Let's see. Here might be something to do. Hold, please. Your call is very important.
Hold, please. We're going to find out if the NRA is actually worth a shit. Trying to find out.
So this is coming from February 11th. February 11th, HR 127, a bill designed to express hostility towards law-abiding gun owners. This is coming from the NRA. All control bills share the same basic goal: a world in which fewer people own firearms. Some bills simply ban certain types of firearms, ammunition. Others place obstacles in the path of owning firearms and ammunition to make them more difficult and expensive to obtain, therefore shrinking the market for them. The fundamental flaw in these HR 127 combines both failed approaches, its ban on common types of ammunition and original equipment magazines for most self-defense firearms, and it makes all firearms more difficult to obtain and possess through punitive licensing and registration schemes. In its detail, however, HR 127 is so outrageous, persecutory, and unworkable that its main function is simply to display the hostility of its author and supporters towards firearms for those who own them and those who want to own them. So
it just
they're kind of breaking down this HR bill 127 pretty much banned common types of ammunition, including every shotgun shell larger than.
See, that's another thing too.
Now,
this right here, I bet you what they're seeing is, and I'm glad you brought that up, Flash, is that they're taking advantage of the fact that if we can't get them, we can't get these guns banned, we can tax the fuck out of gun purchases and the purchase of ammunition. Kind of like how in some southern states, you buy a vehicle, you already paid the taxes on the vehicle, and you still have to pay an annual tax when you re-register the vehicle. It's kind of like that type of gimmick. I honestly think that's their back door to think that people are going to not, have an interest in purchasing. And I'm drawing a blank here. Isn't that Marco Rubio that was talking about that? Was it Marco Rubio? Who was the one that was talking about doing the taxing ammo? I could have sworn it was either.
I hope it's not Marco Rubio, but that guy's spineless anyways.
It was. Hang on. It was. Let's see. Well, this has already been anyways in the process from last year, as it was. So
yeah,
this was. It wasn't like it was something new, but it was just that whole. They're taxing. They're using specific pieces of the Second Amendment to tax the hell out of it, and taxing ammunition. Hey, I tell you what, If you have me paying $2 a gallon, and I'm filling up my tank, and I don't care how much it costs to fill up my tank, I'm not going to care how much it costs to fill up some mags. You know what I mean? I'm going to be like, I need to double.
You're just going to make me angrier.
You're just going to make me mad, and I'm going to buy some, whatever. It was, I was just thinking about that too. I was just kind of thinking like, you got a truck or you got a sports car, you have a motorcycle or whatever, and you have, and everyone was like, oh man, or diesel truck or something like that. And you're like, oh man, it's like fucking have a diesel truck. Man, gas is going to be like $3.50 a gallon or what, yada, yada, yada. You start complaining about the gas prices. What are you doing though? You're still going to the gas station and filling it up, right? So are you going to do the same thing with the with your GATs, with your freedom devices?
Yes.
He said he's completely against private gun ownership, and he thinks that everyone should be. So as long as he's getting rid of those guns, he needs those nasty things. He just needs to bring them over to Heath, and Heath will take care of all of our, you know what I mean? Or yeah, exactly that. Recruiter times to defensive reloading equipment. I've when I was growing up, my dad did the same thing. But if we could only find some reasonably priced ammo, if it doesn't cost that much to reload and it doesn't cost that much to do it, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just like is it illegal to sell a hand-loaded weapon? Like, if you reload rounds and ammunition and you reload it, would you get busted for not paying the tax? Or would the government try to find a way to do it?
I'm thinking about,
I can tell you're getting mad.
Some of the stuff like, just go, we're going to ban assault weapons. Okay, what do you mean assault weapons? Like, again, define. Because a lot of people have actually started, like, I was looking at, there's a Sig Sauer rifle that's got this whole, like, tread, muzzle protector on there. And it's got, like, this whole, like, instead of having your traditional, like, your normal AR-15 style weapons and stuff like that, or your M4, it has that kind of that rich thing hooking, and it's got a special, like, anyways. And they market it as, there's one version of the 5.56 millimeter version. They market it as a pistol. And first it threw me off. I can't find this damn rifle. I'm like, oh, it's under pistol. Even though my wife's like, but it fires,
rifle rounds.
Your rounds.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I know. I said, but they're marketing as a pistol because it meets certain qualifications that there needs to be a pistol to get around some of these loopholes. I said, so already, it's got an adjustable stock. I'm like, yes, that's fucking helped anybody in any fucking situation.
It's called a wrist brace.
Oh man, let me adjust this stock now.
It's a wrist brace.
No one ever does that.
There's no such thing. It's a wrist brace. It's not a stock.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's got a pistol grip on there. So.
I think that's awesome. It's when weapons manufacturers sell weapons as pistols, when definitely the ATF gets all butthurt when they're trying to find out, hey, how come that's definitely a rifle? No, it's not. It's a pistol. It's sold as a pistol. So I guess once you attach specific items to it,
like, oh, that weapon's got a silencer on it. I went, no, it doesn't. You know how hard it is to get a tax stamp for a fucking silencer?
Right, dude.
Serious?
It's usually the ones that know nothing about.
If it's a silencer, it's a Coke bottle. Like that's. Or I'm going to use a pillow. Like that's as close as a silencer that most people.
You're going to use a pillow? Damn, dude. What are you doing?
Don't worry about it. But I mean, like people like lose their shit. Like they act like. I remember the one person, like, I think it was after Parkland the Parkland shooting, and people were coming out with, and they're like, they have like, what do you call it? Chainsaw attachments.
Chainsaw attachments,
like, who the fuck is like actively going around? And every so often I see one, like there was, I think it was a football player who was shooting his AR in a video, and he had a chain. I'm like, how is that, like, unless you're fighting the Horde or zombies, how is that effective in a fight?
That's what I'm talking
some
about.
Of these things, I'm like, that's stupid as shit. Like, 1 in every 1,000 people might even think about actually buying one. I said, calm down, Junior. But I mean, people like lose their shit. Oh, it's got a muzzle brake. I'm like, oh, it doesn't really fucking do anything. Like, most of the stuff, it's like, if you're actually going to get in a fight, a lot of this stuff doesn't fucking matter. Just point that direction. But we get into this whole, like, okay, so if I was to, because I like to be a man of I'm going to draw a line, but, I will walk up to the line and, and meet you halfway type of thing. I could see the owning a weapon at 21. Not that I'd like it, but I'm past 21, so fuck those kids. But I could see it.
Okay.
Okay. Like, I guess you'd have to write in there, a kid should, if the kid's using his dad's rifle under his supervision to go hunting, he should be, he should be allowed to. Does he get to buy it? Okay, no, he has to wait till 21. But I know plenty kids who are 12, like my cousin's kids, like I tell you what, they put me to shame. Because they like to call me Uncle Flash. I almost said my real name. That would have been wonky. But they like to call me Uncle Flash because he's like my brother. And they'll be like, Uncle Flash, look at this like 8-point buck I shot. I'm like, motherfucker, you are 9.
Right, dude. Exactly.
I hate you so much. Oh, look at these rabbits, Uncle Flash. I'm like, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I've been living too close to DC for too long. Like, this is some bullshit.
You little shits.
But these kids, they're doing what they're doing what they're my cousin's dad taught him, and vice and down the line. And I think they should be allowed to under supervision. But sure, maybe you can't actually go out and buy your first rifle until you're 21. I can concede that. I could. I don't like it, but I can concede that. Universal gun, we already do that. But if you're saying, hey, make it, keep, all gun sales, I could dig that. I know when people are probably like losing their shit over it, but I'm like, we already do it for gun sales. Why can't, I like the app idea. I'm just saying, hint, hint. I like that app
Trademark
idea.
Flash. Sorry, I had to throw the.
Why is there an easier way to, for like at a gun show and like, hey, I like to buy this. All right, cool. Can I get your deets real quick? Run it through a system that'll at least do like.
They do it at the gun. They do it at the gun show already. They do it at the gun show already. That's why I don't understand why people are like talking.
Not the last one I was at when my dad bought a rifle.
I don't know what you're talking about, Flash. What I'm saying though, what I'm saying is that when you're going into a large gun show, I'm not talking about the parking lot sales. I'm talking about when you're inside and you want to buy something out at a gun show, and they have a little register right there, and they have their little stuff. You purchase it. You could purchase it right there. I know FFLs, and they it's harder for. I mean, an FFL, they already have to do. They're not going to lose their license, is what I'm saying. They're not going to go through the trouble of getting busted because they can always find someone to purchase their wares, is what I'm saying. My biggest thing is that they're talking about this, the regulation of it, like existing ones already, like regulate the possession of existing ones already. If you already got them, if we already have them. And they're talking about buyback. If you're going to buy back my stuff, this ain't GameStop, son. If you want, you can have some of my
full market price.
Yeah, exactly. I want full market. I want you to go on to, maybe we should have like, how Wall Street Bets, how they have the, how they did the freaking hedge funds and stuff. Maybe we should have, Gun Street Bets,